starting point is asset discovery, and unlike in the enterprise world, 60%, 70% of the industries actually don't know what they have, and they'll be very surprised. So whenever we go and start with an assessment, which is the typical starting point, we actually end up discovering assets and systems and vendors and how updated they are for them, and they're surprised with that. So that's a starting point for you. Once you get that, then do some basic hygiene stuff like segmentation, which we take it for granted in our enterprise world, but you would see that most of these industrial networks are flat, and which means that if one part of the network is vulnerable, and then the whole network is up for attack.
So the way we see it as in total cybersecurity protection, our view to it is that it needs to have a detection paradigm as well as non-detection. Think about it, most of the cybersecurity tools today, I can say more than 90%, they're all detection based. Whether it's sandboxing, multi-AB, threat intelligence, machine learning, all working on the same principle of trying to use the most advanced technology to detect the bad guy so that it can remove them. This is a good way to help in protection. However, it is not sufficient, because in the first place, the bottom line is we cannot detect them. We can detect them today, we cannot detect them tomorrow.
So, and consumer IoT devices are the least secure, because it is supposed to, as the least I mentioned earlier, it's supposed to be functional, it's supposed to be easy, it's supposed to be just for connectivity. So, this is a good platform to begin with, and I focus on this because from Tripwire perspective, we also have these standards. We are working to get these standards into our huge range of compliance standards. We have any non-standard out there, PCI, ISO, CIS. We have a rich platform of compliance standards. So this is one of the things that we are working towards in terms of contributing to the IoT security.
If you look at the typical model that is being followed by most of the financial institutions, is what they ask you to do is to scan your ID, is the first step. Then you take a selfie to match your photo with your ID. And you also do what is called as a liveness check. That means, the person who's taking the selfie, it's not a photograph behind it. You shake your head or blink your eyes to make sure that there's a live person behind that selfie. That's the biometric part. And then we look at the device part, where we take the credentials of the customer and then we store it in a very secure area on your device. And that's where, it can be a mobile device, or, if looking at IoT in the future, you can look at other devices where you can store credentials in a secure manner.
At the end of the day, where there is a financial data, where there's industrial data, is exchange of the data. Right? So device identity, device authentication is a pretty big issue even in the IoT and OT world, because when I'm plugging in a new device within my facility, how do I know whether it is authenticated device or not, or is a rogue device? Or similarly, that's why I've been reading a couple of even the papers and some of the research I've been observing. People are also trying to kind of utilize some of the new technologies like blockchain, which hopefully blockchain and IoT come together, hopefully will address some of those device identification and authentication cases as well.